Girls' levels of confidence and self-criticism falls off a freaking cliff at the age of 13. And there's a very there's a very big reason why. That's the average age when a girl gets her period.
Number one, that's fucking crazy, right? Like it's
makes sense. So
it makes complete sense, because the one thing that I'm curious of that goes along with it too, and I'm curious your thoughts on it, because we were talking before, like this is like 65% women that listen to this, the episodes that I put out. I'm curious if you think, whether there's research behind it or whether it's just your opinion, do you think that makeup is also a part of that as well? Because I think that's also around that time to start putting makeup. So do you think that maybe in their mind, I've always been curious of this, they think like, I'm not good as I am, so I have to cover myself in order to be accepted?
Well, think about the word concealer.
Yeah.
Well, there's two things though about this. Number one is that I think that makeup can either be a form of amplification and self-expression, or it can be something that you do because you don't like.
It's like a mask.
Yes. And so you have to be very careful about what you're thinking about yourself as you're putting it on. I hate my this, and flip it to, I want to bring out the brightness in my eyes. I want to have some fun and, be creative with this stuff instead of it being something that is covering you up. And there's no question, like the messaging for women. So I personally feel when you talk about it from a like biogender kind of level and just the traditional subconscious messaging that's aimed at people who identify male versus people who identify female. The messaging from society for women is your worth is about what you look like, what your body shape is, how beautiful you are. Women that start to age are cast away from society. For guys, you get very similar pressure, but it's about how much money you make.
Right.
It's about how successful you are. And so we are both getting it, but in very different ways. And so the messaging to women is that your body and your face and your beauty is where your value is. And since we're all bombarded with it, whether it's marketing or it's the self-inflicted stuff that we do to ourselves on social media in terms of the accounts that we follow, you can reinforce that negative messaging to yourself and thereby tank your own confidence and amplify your self-criticism.
I'm curious with your children, were you aware of this when you have two daughters and a son? Were you aware of this at this point when they started to go through these changes? Because there's a lot of people that obviously have children that are going through these changes. And were you aware that they were going through these changes? Or is this something that you become aware of in the past few years? And if you were, was there steps that you tried to help build your children's confidence as they were going into, because middle school is hell for a lot of people. But as they were going into middle school, their bodies were going through changes. Were you aware of it at that point, or is this something that you become aware of as of recently?
I was definitely aware of it because we have a 24 and a 23-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old son. And our daughters, as is the case in many families, are not the same size and shape. And we were just talking about this last night at dinner. Actually, I was having dinner with our 23-year-old, and she was explaining to somebody that she and her sister used to battle all the time over clothes. And one of the things that stopped the battles is Sawyer, our oldest, finally said to Kendall, I have a boundary, and you are not allowed to borrow my clothes unless you ask. And then Kendall got all upset about it, and Sawyer said, because you can wear all my shit and I can't wear yours because you're skinnier than me. And Sawyer beat herself up constantly about her body. And she has a very athletic build. She's a fabulous human being. And one of the things that I sought out in terms of advice, because I'm not a parent, I'm not a parenting expert. I'm sure screwed up my kids in many ways, just doing the best that I could. But one piece of advice that really helped me is how important it is to not compliment your daughters based on their appearance. You look so cute. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so pretty today.